That looks nice, Mark.
You know, it's funny how, your fish, they pull really good. Our trout in the wintertime pull a great. Our trout in the summertime, when that water's super hot, don't pull worth a darn.
Right.
That's a nice fish.
Yeah, quality.
Right. This guy's a little more cooperative, nice, prettier fish.
Yeah, nothing
They
wrong with
pull
that fish
good.
at all.
Yeah, that's a nice fish. Very cool.
Grady White Boats' reputation for designing ruggedly elegant fishing boats is legendary. Our attention to quality, detail, and customer service is unmatched. From our Fisherman 180 and Coastal Explorers series to the unrivaled Canyon 456, you'll find no boat that rides better and offers more fishing amenities. Go ahead, experience fishing at its best. Get the Grady.
Welcome to the Carolina Outdoor Journal. Well, today's program is about speckled trout. We're going to head down to Oriental.
That's right. We're going to be fishing with Captain Gary Dubio, targeting speckled trout on a morning that really was not very pretty. In fact, we talked the afternoon before and knew we had a real small window of opportunity to do this. We had Mark Nichols up from Florida, who owns DOA Baits, who is quite an accomplished speckled trout fisherman in his own right. And he was game. He said, let's try it. And so you'll see, we had weather coming in. We knew we had about 4 hours, but you'll see right at the start of the show what we had to face initially, which set us back actually an hour into the morning. But we ended up catching fish, and they'll talk about, this is in November when the water starts cooling down, and some of the tips that you can gain from the show today about downsizing your baits as the water cools is pretty interesting, so stick with us.
The gear time today will be one that people will want to take some notes on, maybe.
Well, they'll go over the lures that they use, the soft baits they use today for the trout, and emphasize the need to really downsize the size of your baits. It's pretty interesting information as you move into the colder months when the fish get a little picky, and I think it'll help your fishing for speckled trout.
Donna's recipe is one I think I can do. It's a fish sandwich today.
Pretty cut and dry from her today, but it goes right along with the show today. We're in the field for, to me, one of the tastiest fish that we have in our waters, the speckled trout.
All right, let's head on down to Oriental on the Carolina Outdoor Journal.
Mark, appreciate you coming up and fishing with us.
Always good to be here in this wonderful balmy weather that you have here.
Very balmy, very foggy this morning. Hopefully
Sets a good mood.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it won't interfere with what we're fishing for today. We'll try to take all these wonderful baits you have and see if we can't catch something.
See how many trout we can catch with how many different lures.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got a couple new prototypes, and I got some new baits that we've just come out with that I'd like to play with. It'd be fun.
That sounds great. Let's see what we can do. Maybe we'll even find a trout or redfish or a striper.
If it pulls back, I'm going to be
good.
happy.
Good, excellent.
Yeah,
well, that's fine.
I'm your kind of customer, right?
Absolutely.
As a captain, bent rod is a good thing. You know, you gave me a call right before I left and said, I got to have this color, and you were talking about gold because we didn't have it, so you wanted gold, because I love gold in the wintertime too. But I feel like a lot of times, we get stuck on a color.
Right.
I brought a whole bunch of different colors. It'd be kind of interesting to see how many different colors we can catch the fish on.
Yeah, it really, a lot of anglers get stuck on.
Right here.
Right.
It's in your head.
Absolutely.
At the fish, they don't really know. But,
No,
but it's
they
like,
don't.
but I also say, if you've got faith in it, you're going to throw it with more faith, therefore you're going to catch more fish.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter what color, it's right, again, in the head.
Confidence.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
Can we catch fish now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. I want to bend the rod.
Yeah. See what we can pull off of this point here this morning.
Yes, sir. I'm throwing one of our new 1/4 ounce jig heads that you helped us work on getting the hook together for this thing, catching those big drum that you guys are catching.
Well, it certainly has made a big difference in a high percentage of landing.
Yeah, yeah.
Big hook, big sharp hook.
I tell you what, that gap, really big gap, just makes such a difference in hookup.
Absolutely.
That's it. Now you're making me jealous.
I know.
One fish I was okay, but now you caught a fish that's a little bit larger.
Not a giant, but bigger than the last one.
Yeah, it is. That's a nice fish.
I probably should have the net ready, but since I'm a professional at this.
There's nothing to it. You hook them perfectly every time.
Well, and
nice
see there,
release, you
quick release.
conservationist, you.
Thank you so much.
What, you belong to PETA or something?
Yeah,
Get that fish a little bit closer next time, would you? I'm not convinced. Are you sure that was a fish?
Well, I think I'll get the net ready for us now.
Yeah.
You know, I know this guy who makes lures.
You got me
one of his favorite colors is stark naked.
Yeah, I like that color.
Yeah, me too.
You want to hear an interesting story about that color?
Yes, sir.
The company that makes the powder for that particular color is out of business.
Oh no.
And they say they won't have that color again for a couple years. Interesting, huh? So you're going to order a whole bunch, right?
Yeah, pull the old bait out of the lips here. Pretty yellow mouth on this fish.
Yeah,
this
that's
female.
a nice fish.
Not really healthy this time of the year here.
Yeah.
Very, very fat.
Yeah, yeah.
Put her back in the water for another
Pretty.
day.
Off you go, girl.
Well, I got the man digging through his lure bag now.
That's right. Problem is, like, my life was simple when I only had a couple different lures. And then you start getting a whole bunch of them, and then you get real confused as to what you got to have, you know. What do I need to use?
So many lures, so many colors, so
is-
little time.
Yeah, exactly right. Get back up there and catch a fish. I'll just sit down here and go through lures.
And Mark, I know you've been making these plastic baits for a long time, but how did this all start? What inspired you to do all this craziness?
Fishing all my life. My dad owned a shrimp boat, so you know we had every live bait that ever swam, and I started fishing plastic actually when I moved to Austin, Texas, where a buddy of mine worked at a freshwater shop, and my dad had moved down to Corpus Christi in Texas, and so I started taking those worms and stuff down there to the coast and started catching fish, and I did some wood. I did some wood carving and stuff. He tried to eat, and so I started carving some of my own lures out of wood, and then I started messing with some plastics. I stole my sister's little creepy collars that you heated up in the oven, and I started making, started making my own worms, and then I started making some different kind of critters and started doing pretty well with them, and started taking them down to the coast and catching a lot of redfish and trout with them. And so I kind of got excited about making lures, and I moved to Durango, Colorado, and I really learned a lot about true finesse. You know, crawling your belly up to a stream to get to that fish. And that taught me a lot from fishing, you know, a mud hole of Galveston Bay to starting to fish some crystal clear water, and it taught me a lot about finesse. And so it's just been an ongoing thing. And when I learned how those trout are always looking into that stream, you know, if I could, when I came out with my shrimp, I moved to Stuart, Florida, all those snook were looking into that tide same exact way, so I could cast that shrimp and let it sweep to them just like I would a trout in a stream. And I'll be darned if they didn't start eating it. So people started buying them, and next thing you know, I've been doing it for 25 years.
That's great.
It's pretty cool. All right.
Glad to see you catch one of my fish.
Well, you know what I did? I picked up one of the curl tails I brought for you. Actually, I brought one of the colors that I was going to force you to use, which is that glow gold. I just tend to love that color.
Great color. Look
Whoa,
at this.
It looks a lot like a flounder, doesn't it?
A bonus fish.
Cool. All right, I stole one of your curl tails I brought for you, Gary.
Beautiful.
Work it nice and slow off the bottom, have a lot of action with very little speed. Really nice flounder, actually.
Yeah, it is.
That's, I don't know, what size do y'all?
15 inches.
Yeah.
So that's a legal fish.
Yeah, it's
Plenty
pretty
legal,
fish.
nice fat, very fat.
Yeah, it's a real healthy fish.
Beautiful.
They're a cool fish.
And proof that your lures catch lots of things.
Yeah, really. A potpourri. Cool. You're lucky you're not at my house. You might be dinner tonight. Hey, don't do that.
Yeah, I think you got the fin.
Yeah. Yep. Trout, they seem to have the best talent of getting my glasses wet. They can, I don't know what it is about them, but every time I let them go, they splash my glasses. In this case, the flounder splashed my glasses.
Well, good.
Never mind.
Very nice.
Thank you, sir, for putting me on that fish. And
Yeah, well, I knew exactly where he was.
I saw that you kind of cast that way, so you forced me to cast that way to
Right.
the fish.
Right,
It's
absolutely.
really subtle.
Yeah.
That was nice of you.
That looks nice, Mark.
You know, it's funny how, you know, your fish, they pull really good. Our trout in the wintertime pull a great. Our trout in the summertime, when that water's super hot, don't pull worth a darn.
Right.
That's a nice fish.
Yeah, quality.
Right. This guy's a little more cooperative, nice, prettier fish.
Yeah, nothing
They
wrong with
pull
that fish
good.
at all.
Yeah, that's a nice fish. Very cool. Nice,
Nice
clean
and fat.
hookup. Yeah,
Beautiful.
very happy. Look at
Very
the
shiny.
torn tail,
Yeah.
brushing bottom. Thank you very much.
Beautiful fish.
Zoom.
Off he goes. Nicely done, sir.
Thank you.
We'll save your pants for another day.
Yeah, I'm by myself. It gets started smelly in the room there after a couple of days.
Mark, I think something that a lot of folks in my area don't fully understand, like using soft plastic baits. You know, we got a quality fish on a fairly small bait, and a lot of times in the winter and in clear water,
Yeah.
scaling down and slowing down makes a big difference. So,
Oh, sure.
going to that curl tail style bait,
Right. Look at you.
letting it kind of swim slow,
Right.
water's cool, catch a fish.
Just like that, you dog. You think you were doing a TV show or something. the way
Yeah, I'm
just
telling
did
you.
that.
Not as big as the last one, but still not a bad fish.
Great fish. It just shows that, you know, there's good quality fish here, you know, good numbers. That's the best.
Right. Nice mix. You got good year class mix. Mm-hmm. Hey, still plenty legal if you were so inclined. All right.
Good job, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, it's my turn, by the way.
Yeah, I'll slow down.
Yeah. You just take a nap, you know, have some coffee. I feel that wind switching direction now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, in between, you know, a couple fronts here, so we have a fairly limited opportunity to get you out and on some fish, but, you know, enough cooperation this morning that I at least feel good about that part of it.
It's working.
Yes, sir. That kind of looks a little bit more like we've
Yeah,
been
it
chasing.
does. Yes, that's a nice fish, sir.
Thank you.
Am I jealous? Yeah.
Okay, well, let me
maybe
get in
just
your
a
way
little
then.
bit. That's all right.
Let me get in your way while I'm at it.
That is a nicer fish. I could have grabbed that net for you.
That's okay.
I'd accidentally knock him off.
Well, I might do that myself.
That's a nice fish, Gary.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
You dog.
Well, you know, I'm using some
Somebody-
guys' baits that really work here, so
Somebody's got to do it.
that's a lot of shoulders right there.
Yeah, nice North Carolina trout there.
Yeah. That's about what you hope for this time of the year. I mean, we'll get bigger fish than that, but that's really, you know,
Right.
getting good quality for us.
Sure.
So
Very
nice,
nice.
and fat winter fish.
Yeah.
Get her back in the water.
Oh, look at me.
Look at you.
Another little guy.
Well, they seem to be rather plentiful today.
It's nice to see these fish are here. This is very cool. Even though they need to grow up a little bit, they're eating.
Yes, they are.
And we are working our bait slow this morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny how sometimes you can really rip it and they're all over it, and at other times they just kind of want to mouth it.
Have a rag, sir.
Thank you very much.
I'm a professional guide.
If I'm gonna stay out here, if we happen to get to fish 2 days, I'd hate to like get all my pants real dirty right off the bat.
Yeah, I understand. Well,
Hey, Gary, you're making me jealous now. That one's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, not quite the minnows we've been catching. Not a giant fish, but
hey, you pulled
the-
back, right?
That's right.
That's good.
and for those of us who would be frying today,
Yep, really. Curl tail, copper crush. That color, I love that color. It's so reflective.
it is. You know, in this dark water sometimes, you know, it's clear, but it's got that tannic stain and
Right.
things kind of gold up, and that's just a additive to it.
I agree.
Drop him back in.
Joe, the weather was a factor.
It was, as you could see, we had to start it off with fog, which actually set us back an hour of the 4 hours that we knew we had to work with because it was that thick. And we waited for it to burn off, got out to some places that Gary had been catching some fish, and the fact that I had two really good speckled trout fishermen worked in my favor to get the show because we had weather coming in. We could look on the radar and see it coming, and we got it in and had a good morning of fishing.
All right, let's find out more. Let's go to gear time.
Mark, I appreciate you coming up and fishing with us.
Awesome time. Appreciate you
Yeah.
having me.
You know, we had to squeeze the morning in. We had fog, now we got wind, we got rain, and tomorrow we got freezing cold. So,
I don't know if you've noticed, but you know, you come to Stewart when I should be coming up here, and I come up here when you should be coming down to Stewart.
absolutely.
How does that work?
I don't know. We got to fix that.
Yeah, I
we got
don't
to
know.
fix that.
We can do that.
But we caught some fish anyway.
Yeah, we had a nice time.
You know, trout mostly. You got one nice flounder. You know, this time of the year we find a lot of mixed bag up here,
Right.
which we didn't find today. But you know, decent enough in between the weather.
Well, that's the whole thing. You got to go with conditions, and to be able to go out and bend a rod on a day like today is pretty wonderful. You know,
Absolutely.
we probably caught what 15 or 20 trout easily.
Right.
You know, and bent rod is a good thing.
Absolutely. Speaking of rods, you know, we're both using pretty light tackle, light braid, very sensitive rods, and that's very, very important. The water's cold. You know, we're in the low 50s. The bites sometimes are good, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're very subtle. So, quality equipment, subtle bites make a big difference.
Right. Working a bait slow, you instantly tied on the curl tails, which for a slow presentation, it's got a tremendous amount of flash with very slow movement, which is ideal. You know,
Right.
it gets their attention, but they have plenty of time to go eat the bait.
Absolutely. And we went, you know, mostly on the 8th earlier. Wind came up. I snuck in that 1/4 ounce on you, picked up a few
Yeah,
more
that was
fish.
real nice of you to let me know that after you caught a few fish.
But-
That's okay, I'm not hurt. Don't worry.
You make a lot of different baits, a lot of different colors. You know, I catch fish on all your baits, but you know, certainly the curl tail, the wintertime, your shad tails all year round.
Well, we were talking earlier when we were fishing size. You know, this time of year when it starts getting real cold, tend to downsize a good bit. You know, these fish are lethargic and they're really foraging. Anything they can find, they pick up and eat, and something
Right.
small and flashy. And the marine biologists always say that, like a trout will tend to eat a lot of fin fish when it's warm out, when they're comfortable, at their most comfortable stage. But when it's super cold, they have trouble digesting a big fin fish. So they tend to go for smaller baits. And, you know, we got the colder water, so we got smaller baits.
Right, and it worked out today. You make some bigger baits, which I've done really well on all the time, but as of late as well. Didn't have the opportunity to use them today, but the airhead is a fabulous bait.
Right. This here, and I know that you cut that tail on it where
Right.
you can get that tail to have a lot of action, and that's a very simple process. It's just the reason why I like to cut a hole in the center of the bait is strictly that when I cut the slot to that hole, it won't continue to tear. So I can cast it in a heavy wind, and when it flaps, it won't continue to tear. So it's very important to cut a real straight line, which
Right.
is not true at all.
Right,
I will bite it with my teeth. I can do something like that, and it ain't the prettiest cut, but it still opens up and allows that bait to really flap.
right.
And I learned that from the bass guys, and it really works well in saltwater.
Yes, it does.
I think you've done rather well on a redder too.
Yes, I have. Well, I appreciate you coming up, and you know, always great to fish with you. And I'm looking forward to getting back to Stewart in some warmer weather.
It's beautiful country up here.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
it is.
nice to look at from inside the window. You can look out and go, boy, it looks cold out there.
Yes, it does. It does. Thanks, buddy. Always a pleasure.
good.
Yes,
Always
sir.
good.
Thank you so much.
Get real. It's fun.
Gary and Mark, thank you for that valuable information. Now, if you want to try speckled trout, give them a call. The number's on your screen. Give Gary a call, and I believe he can put you on some fish. Now, Donna, she's in the kitchen. She's got a recipe today. It sounds simple. We'll see. She's got a recipe today for a fish sandwich.
Hi, today in the kitchen we're making a grilled fish sandwich. And you can grill this or you can sear it, which is what I'm doing right now. We're gonna use a great striped bass. It is beautiful. We're gonna put our skin side down and then I'm going to season the top. So we have our oil, our canola oil in our cast iron skillet. We're gonna take the striped bass and we're just gonna place it straight down and give it a nice sear. So it's not going to take too long to do this. So we're going to do some cracked black pepper on this. We're going to do a little red ground pepper, get out a little spice. You can leave that off if you don't want it to be that spicy. And then some salt. So we're just going to let this sear. And while it's searing, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our slaw that's going to go on this. And we're going to use Savoy cabbage, which is a little bit milder cabbage than your regular green cabbage that you find in the stores. We're going to add some caraway seeds to this. I also have some great red and yellow and orange bell peppers, some red onion, and some celery. I added a little bell pepper because I thought it needed some color. And you don't have to use that. If you don't like bell peppers, you can leave it out. So we're just going to give that a toss. We're going to add some red wine vinegar to this and some mayonnaise. So we're just going to give this a stir until it's all mixed together. And you can make this ahead of time if you want to make sure that all of the flavors kind of mix. You can add some salt and pepper to it if you want as well. So let's see, we're just gonna give that a toss. We're gonna flip our fish here and sear our other side. So this should take about, 5-10 minutes just to do your fish. You can also, like I said, you can grill it if you want as well. So now that we have our slaw all ready to go, then I have my fish that's already been seared. It's on a piece of some great bread. You can use some old country bread or a little bit like a sourdough would be great. You can grill your bread. If you're grilling your fish, you can grill your bread and that'll be awesome. Then we're just gonna top it with some slaw and you're ready to go. So this could be a quick dinner on the weekends or a quick weekday meal as well. So I hope you enjoy the grilled fish sandwich and I look forward to seeing you next time here on Simple Cooking.
Thanks, Donna, for another recipe. Joe, bad weather, but the experience and the anglers paid off.
Well, I think so, especially that amount of time we had to fish and the conditions were changing while we were out there. But I really would like to thank Mark for coming up from Florida fishing with us. He had a short window of opportunity to fish with us. And he developed that whole line of DOA baits that we use here on the show and for most of our saltwater fishing. And it started, as he said earlier, at an early age in Texas. And they really do catch fish, a lot of good variety of fish, particularly speckled trout, and he really likes, like I do, speckled trout fishing, and we hope he'll come back again.
It was an exciting day.
It was.
For Joe Albee, I'm John Moore. We thank you for joining us today on the Carolina Outdoor Journal.
Make sure to visit our website for more information.
Grady White boats are known for uncompromising quality through exceptional attention to detail. On every model, from 18 to 45 feet, we incorporate exclusive features and quality components that you won't find on any other boat brands. Our exclusive CV2 hull design is ranked highest in every third-party survey done in the marine industry. So every day on the water will be a great day, no matter the conditions. Ask any Grady White owner and they'll tell you, get the Grady.